This episode of Catch the Craze is sponsored by Forbidden, coming soon to Indiegogo. What's on the show today, Georgie?
All right, Sammy. Today we're going to have a very, very, very talented guest. His name is Phil Falco. He's the writer and creator of Haunting, a very, very interesting book. We're going to talk to him. And then we're also going to have the topic for Get Your Meds, which is what's in a name or book title.
What's in
Everything.
a name?
Check
Let's
it
get it going.
We are the only show for independents all around, giving you a platform to spread your word all over town. Catch the Craze is the place to promote to your fans with the dream of Medina and Sam the Crazy Man. Subscribe to our show and never miss an episode. It's time to get your meds, listen to us on the go. Updated every week, we never miss a day. Join the squad, come on in. It's time to catch the craze. If you are an independent, catch the craze. Making moves on your own, catch the craze. On your grind in the streets, catch the craze. Join the movement, catch the craze.
Yeah, George, we did it again. Come on now. You know you want to do it. Catch the Craze. Welcome to Catch the Craze podcast. I am your host with the most, Sam the Crazy Man Vera, and I am with
George the Dreamer Medina. What up? ¿Qué pasó, brother?
my Adidas. Walk through closet doors and then all over Coliseum floors. That goes with that too. Remember that?
Goes with everything. Goes with everything, bro.
Goes with everything.
Everything. It doesn't matter. It's universal.
Yes.
What's going on, son?
What's going on in the world today?
Well, first of all, welcome everybody. This is Catch the Craze. It is February 19th, and I am showing you guys my collection of hats in the background.
Hats
I
in the
got some
back.
new ones in there.
He's got a lot of hats.
in the back.
Why he's doing that is to make up for the fact that he was just banished to his closet. So just want to let you know that's the real story behind it.
Listen, man. Listen.
I told him to come out. He just don't want to.
Oh man. Well, listen, everybody watching the show today, remember to subscribe to the channel. Remember to hit the like. Remember to comment below. Remember to do all of that stuff. And we are episode, I don't even know what episode this is, dude. But
Neither do I.
But
We're making it happen. We're making it happen.
We have a very good episode today, as you saw in the soft opening there. Phil Falco is going to join us later on today, talking to us about Haunting.
Wrong image. Studio mode. I gotta go to studio mode.
Oh man. Yeah, so Phil Falco will be on the show. Haunting is the name of his comic. He's had two very, very successful Kickstarters for this project, and it is a beautiful book. He sent us a couple of PDFs of issues 1 and 2. Thank you very much, Phil. Can't wait to talk to him.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, dude, it's amazing
That's
how
what I was
many.
looking for.
Okay, it's amazing how many talented creators and how many interesting projects are out there, man. In the indie scene.
Yo, you cats out there, my hat's off to you. I'm not taking it off, but my hat's off to you. You guys really, I remember the days of independence when we started. The caliber today is so much on a different level.
Oh,
you guys are really making us work. You're making me work hard. That's definitely we're working because you guys. We're new to Kickstarter, but every time I go on Kickstarter, I'd love to back every single one of you. That's number one because there's so much talent out there. I can't because I'm a brokepreneur. But I backed 4, right? So and I backed 1 on Indiegogo, so that's 5.
Nice, good job.
Yeah. So I'm supporting. I'm living the life. But
me too. I got a couple of supports. I got a couple of things coming in the next few weeks.
in fact, yeah, I got one of the backers that I just supported sent me his
Hey,
stuff. This was from Russ Leach. Only death can save us. So I just got my package, and I'm going to feature it on What's in the Box.
You know what? Just real quick before we even go into the topic, but get your meds. The topic is what's in a name, and that name is dope. But go ahead, Sam.
Yes. Say my name, say my name. He's talking about Sam. I'm just saying. That's the name he's talking about.
Sam.
Sam. I'll have a slice of ham, Sam. So that's why you're going to call me Samuel. All right? Samuel Vera. So, yeah. So, George put me on to Mr. Falco, and I read the first issue, and I dug every minute of it. Like it's a page turner. It was written really well. The art complements the story, and it was like
the coloring, the art, the lettering. I mean,
and then when I looked at the previous Kickstarter and why he's so successful, I understand it. I'm like, we gotta step up on our third Kickstarter. We gotta raise the bar. These boys are making us work.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And you know what? Talking to Kickstarters, thank you everyone for making our second Kickstarter a rising success or rousing, however you want to say it. It was incredible. The support, the love. Your stuff will be going out soon. I mean, the book is done, completed. We're just working on some working on the. And I don't know. I mean, by the time this airs, you probably would have done it already. The story at the end, the one pager. Yes, so we had a pledger that pledged our highest level, which was which level was that? It was the We Are the Craze, I believe. The We Are the Craze level, which in that level you get to write your own one-page script of the Crazies with your twist and your characters, whatever. And so she submitted her script with all the references, basically just gave me the whole layout. It's a PowerPoint presentation. It's a PowerPoint presentation. Crystal Haskins. She took me back to the corporate world. I was like, geez, I was trying to escape that stuff, man. What's with all this structure? She is corporate. Yeah, I was like, that's why I'm a brokepreneur. I left corporate. And so I'm working on that on top of working on the marketing stuff for issue 3 of Cast the Crazies, which is issue 3 is completely done as far as illustrated. That's right. Which is exciting. We just have to letter it and color it, and we're good. And that's thanks to everybody's support, because the pledges and the amount that they've pledged has definitely allowed us to move forward with the project. Now, what we would be collecting now is for the production, for the printing, and for all of that stuff. As far as the artwork, that is completed, and And I'm excited. Actually, also, just a reminder for everybody who's pledged to 1 and 2, follow our launch page for issue 3. That's on our links. It'll be right now it's on crazycomics.com. It's on getyourmeds.com. It's on all of our social networks. It's on my Medina Whip at Instagram. So hit that link. Follow the launch page, because as soon as it goes live, you will be one of the first ones. And you want to be one of the first ones, because we got some really cool and really different rewards that you need to be up front for. You need to be number 1, number 2, you need to be up there for. And you'll find out more about it when we as time progresses. Word up. Crazy up. Word up. Crew that goes buck. Throw your guns in the air. I bet that beat goes with that too. Yes, it does. Yes. Let's do it. Word up, crazy up, we're rolling with the crew that go. Yeah, it does. It does. You just gotta know when to jump in. It's like hopscotch. Everything. Yeah. Oh, good stuff. So, we're not going there yet, Sam. I know you get nervous, but get your meds. George be acting up. Get your meds, the topic of the day. Let me know when you want to go, and we'll go to it. Well, I'm showing you the topic. What's in a name? Say my name. What's in a name, dog? What's in a name? What's in a name? Or a book title. Yes, a good title. So since George is pulling my arm, I just got to find the right button for this. Herb!
It's time for your medicine.
So what's in a name, George?
All right, so we're gonna play a little game right now. I'm gonna give you
Hercules,
I'm
Hercules.
gonna give you the title of the name.
Uh-oh.
You're probably not gonna know this, but I'm gonna give you the title of the name, and
Oh, he's
then
saying I'm slow.
No, because it's and I don't know how many people will know this, but when I was thinking about this topic, I bumped into this. Jane Austen, she's famous writer. She had a book whose title you will know once I tell you, but the original title of the book was First Impressions. Do you know what the title of the name was after it was changed?
Last Impressions?
No, Pride and Prejudice.
Oh, okay.
The original title of Pride and Prejudice was First Impressions. They changed it because Pride and Prejudice just sounds dope. Another one, Something That Happened by John Steinbeck. John Steinbeck wrote many, many books. One of them was Something That Happened, but that's not the title that stuck. Would you care to guess what the title of the book was?
I fell down the stairs.
Something Happened turned into Of Mice and Men.
Oh, wow,
Of
look at
Mice
that.
and Men.
I would
The
never put
original
the two
title
together.
of Mice and Men was Something That Happened.
Don't want me
How
in your
boring
team
was
doing
Something That
Scrabble.
Happened?
All right, you know what I'm saying? Playing Scrabble. It's over.
Harper Lee, he's recently passed away, had a book called Atticus. Would you care to guess what the title of what that turned into?
Attaboy.
To Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh, nice.
To Kill a Mockingbird's original title was Atticus. I'll give you one more just because
batting 1,000.
Ernest Hemingway. Actually, I'll give you two more. Ernest Hemingway wrote a book called Fiesta.
Oh.
Didn't stick. What do you think that name turned into?
Arroz con gandules.
No. The Sun Also Rises.
Oh, wow, look at that.
The Sun Also Rises was first called Fiesta. Last one.
Yeah, no more rice and beans.
Margaret Mitchell wrote a book called Tomorrow is Another Day, but that's not the name that stuck. Care to guess?
I failed yesterday?
Tomorrow is Another Day turned into Gone with the Wind.
Oh, look at that.
So those are just examples of how important a name is, right? The name changes everything in the title. So I thought, okay, what are things that make titles good? What are some of the things that makes titles good? What do you think, Sammy? What do you think makes titles good?
I think being able to capture the essence of a story in the name. You know what I'm saying? If you're able to articulate the way, like Gone with the Wind, right? A classic.
Classic, dude.
And you're able to articulate that story with just that title, I think that's one ingredient in the right direction.
I was when I was when I thought about this topic, I started doing a little research as to like what are some of the things that most people say, are things that make a title good. And one of them was it's got to be unique. It's got to be a unique title, something that people are gonna boom. Oh, I know what that is. Another thing was catches the reader's attention. To Kill a Mockingbird, like, oh, wait, what's that about? Like there are some titles. Big shout out to Keith Murphy. A title like Road to Valhalla, right? Road to Valhalla. Very, very, very catchy. It's like, oh, okay, well, what's that about? Another thing is easily remembered.
Yes.
Easily, something that you can easily remember right away. Bam. Easily pronounced.
Yes. Google.
Easily pronounced. Yeah.
Amazon.
Right?
Dell. Apple.
Nike.
Like,
Yo, I mean, now we're going into brands, but for sure, that it works for all that kind of stuff. And one of the things that was also said is that if you think about it, your title is the most important thing when it comes to your marketing.
Yeah.
Right? Before the cover, right? Before the cover, before the story at first, the most important thing for marketing is that title, right? Oh, what's the name of your book? Gone with the Wind. Oh, okay, well, what's that about? Before they even see any artwork for it. In this case, before they read a page of the book. Right. So, things like that. But how do you get that title? How do you get there? How do you get to create these titles? What are the steps?
I think that some of the steps are the fundamentals that most people overlook, especially creators. especially indie creators. And this is not a jab at indie creators, but
Yeah.
like surveys, testing your audience.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Saying, hey, giving samples of your book to people and saying, and this is the title of the book, and then asking them specific questions. What do you think of the title? Is it relevant to the book? Do you think it's powerful enough? What do you think of? And using that information to adjust. It's similar to what they do with the comic book school. You know what I'm saying? Where every step of the development phase, they're giving each other feedback. So I think it's getting out to the market that you're trying to target and getting feedback, and putting your pride aside. Because you might be set on a name, you might be set on a direction, but sometimes things change, and you have to adjust. Really, really taking a critical look, putting it away, walking away from it for a while, come back, and then say, what are the things? This is more of the branding, the logo, but I changed the logo to Forbidden from its original logo to fit the story, because when I took a hard look at it years later, it just didn't have that impact I was looking for. So I think that's sometimes time will help you. You know what I'm saying?
True,
You can create the title and then go out and write and develop the book and then go back to that title and say, is it lined up? Is it aligned? Does it make sense? Does it catch my attention?
That's actually a really good title, Forbidden, right? Because it's one of those, like, if you check off the boxes, right? I think it catches the reader's attention, right? Forbidden. What's forbidden? It makes you ask questions, right? It's easily remembered, easily pronounced. Avoids confusion. It's memorable. Provides insight. Forbidden. And another title, and I work with this.
I did my thing, baby.
I worked on this book with Jonathan Syfax, who's a very good friend of mine, very good friend of yours. Street Journal. Another title, Street Journal. What is that about?
Love that title.
Yeah. That's such a fitting title. And it's quick. It's fast. How did you come up with that title, with Forbidden?
It started with the story. I think the story started first, and when the group of people that were cursed were forbidden from walking the surface of the earth, that is where I landed.
Yes.
Forbidden. You know what I'm saying?
And that's perfect. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. That's basically where I landed. So after I wrote the plot and I started reading it out loud, that's where I landed on the title. I was like, they're forbidden from walking the earth. This is the title. That's what it's going to be. It's just left at that one word.
Got it. Yeah, it's basically nybookeditors.com. It's a very good website. If you're a writer, check it out. They had a couple of tips, and a lot of it is what you just said. Because brainstorm, right? You sit down and you brainstorm. Who is the book about, right? What is it about? Where does it take place? Why should someone read it? When you start thinking about those questions and answer those questions, you tend to arrive at your answer, which is your book title, which is what you did with Forbidden, right? You just basically, all those questions that were asked are answered in the way you came up with that title. And I think that's what, when you're thinking about coming up with a title, it's tough. It's not easy sometimes. Sometimes it's quick, sometimes it's fast, and it just happens. Sometimes there's an alien in my toilet. They're like, what? What?
It makes you giggle.
It makes you giggle. It makes you giggle. Other tips that they had was use poetic phrases. So it can be alliterative. It could be, and they gave an example of Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy by John le Carre. That's a book that has alliteration in the title.
I enjoyed the movie.
Sometimes that works. It can be ominous. Hunter Thompson has a book called Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, right? That's ominous. What's that about? It could be descriptive. Snow Falling on Cedars by Debbie Gutterson. Like, these are just techniques
like
that
bridges
you can
over
use.
Madison County.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So things like that, these are titles that now stay with you.
Yes.
And you're like, oh, okay.
They stay with you when the story does its job.
Right. That's true too.
You know what I'm saying? Because you can have a powerful title and a substandard story that does not bring the reader in. the observer in, and they don't find relevance in the story. And so I think your message in the story has to be aligned to it.
Right.
And what makes the title memorable is the experience they get from the story.
But yeah, and you're right, and I think that's why when we're talking about your book title is the most important marketing strategy you have, it is important at first, and then the art has to take over. It's almost like we I talk about this the guys all the time, where like great artwork will sell you the first book, but the story will keep them coming back for the rest of the issues, yes. Right? And that's similar to what we're talking about as far as titles. That title will grab the audience to pick up the book. Then, oh, look at this cover, and then open it up, and the story keeps them there. And then the artwork and the story. We're talking about books and comics and things like that. But I think that titles are something that you need to make sure that they're impactful, they're powerful, unique. They're all those things that are going to make people pick them up, because it's important. It's one of the most important, if not the most important, like I said, strategy, marketing strategy.
It's the first impression.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about that
it's
first
that
impression.
First introduction to your life's work.
Yes.
Yes. And so what do you want that to be? You want it to be enough for them to want to open it and read it, or just keep on moving?
Yeah, crowd participation time. Everybody watching the show, drop the title of your indie comic down in the comments below, and let's talk a little bit about those titles. See who has got the best one, or what sticks out, and who likes what.
Let's talk about it, man.
But let's talk about it, man. Yo, yes. Good job. I think it was.
I redeemed myself from that trivia game in the beginning. See that?
Yeah, dude. But you know what? I found that stuff fascinating, dude. Like, I'm like, damn, really? Like, and then I had to Google. I'm like, is that true? Like, did these titles really have those names and it didn't work, so they went back to the drawing board? Even Lord of the Flies. Lord of the Flies' original title was Stranger from Within.
Interesting.
Stranger from Within became Lord of the Flies. And even that book by William Faulkner, The Sound and the Fury, the original title for that was Twilight. And he changed it into The Sound and the Fury. So,
and someone else came up with Twilight.
And then somebody else took Twilight. Yeah. Which I didn't really enjoy, to be honest with you.
Twilight?
Not my cup of tea. Nah, not really.
Why, the guys were too pretty?
The story was too dumb. I just didn't like it.
Every girl that I know was like in love with Twilight.
Oh, absolutely. And now he's Batman.
I'm Batman. Everybody's Batman.
Everybody. Dude, I can't wait. I honestly, I'm a big Batman fan, so I can't wait to see the movie. But yeah, everybody's Batman.
I actually enjoyed Ben Affleck's Batman.
I did too.
Yeah.
I thought Ben did a good job.
At first, I was like, "What, Ben?" And then I was like, "Oh, he did a really good job."
He did.
I enjoyed it.
He did. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, that is Get Your Meds for today.
That's your Get Your Medina
nice
haze.
Quickie, nice little short quickie one. It gives us more time to just chat it up before we talk to Mr. Phil Falco.
Yes, Falcone.
I like the name too, Phil Falco.
Yes.
Like, it's just, talk about alliteration. Phil Falco. So Haunting, yeah, I read the book. It's really, really good. And for everybody watching, let me give you a quick what the story, not what the story is about, but just a quick synopsis. Bram is your average everyday teenage brat who just happens to raise the dead wherever he goes. So that's pretty dope. That's pretty cool, And we're gonna talk to Phil.
And it's funny because when the first issue, when it starts, you're thinking, is he in a dream state at first? You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking, is he a dream state? Because there's chaos all around him and he's just walking. So I said, is he dreaming? Then I realized with the bellhop that, oh, it is real. And then I was like, but yet nothing's happened to this kid. Maybe he's like the caller of darkness. But then, and then when they went through him, I was like, so what I want to know is why the dead follow wherever he goes. And then the guy that's hunting him down. That's dope. That guy's just like, there's no mercy. Yo, I feel sorry anybody who comes across the guy who's hunting him down, because if you even look his way, it's over for you. It's like, forget about it. I don't care. You could be the man of the cloth. It's over for you. So, I enjoyed it. So I'm going to read the second issue. But then I looked at the Kickstarter. I was like, no wonder why this guy's successful in Kickstarter. He did a really good job with the story. And partnering with the right people. The artist did a great job. The colorist did a great job. It was packaged right.
That team,
Really
that
tight.
team is important. That team is important.
Yes.
And the name of the title, Haunting. Haunting is one of those things where it's easy to remember. It makes you ask questions and things of that nature. So even that works as far as what we were talking about today. What's in the name? So good. Can't wait to have him here. We'll talk about it some more with him and see what happens there. But yeah, totally cool book.
Yeah. It's being a brokepreneur. I've been very busy. I work harder now than I did when I was working in a corporate environment. I'm exhausted.
Sure.
I'm exhausted. Sure, it's tiring, but I'm like.
and after book 4 of Catch the Crazies, you're going to be taking over the.
I'm taking over the artwork. Yeah. So so I'm going to be even more exhausted. Yes, I'm taking over the art duties for issue 5, and that'll be fun. And been doing a lot of drawing episodes, demonstrating my artistic prowess, and so
that Cintiq is freaking awesome, bro.
Yes.
Like I'm still using paper and pen over here. I'm still just doing these kind of things. It's freaking nuts.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Well, I'm doing paper and pen only for a couple of the people that pledged on the Kickstarter. I'm doing a unique piece for a couple people, but that's the only reason why I would do it. Would be for commissions. You'll find me using any kind of
stock paper.
Yeah.
No,
Everything else,
true.
I'm doing it there. It's easier. It's faster. Keeps everything moving, and I can play. I could just delete the layer if I didn't like it and restart it. And
that's awesome, bro.
It's
that's
crazy.
Awesome. Yeah, no, it looks great. It looks nice and easy to do. You can go right into your inks.
Yeah.
Throw color right on there. I'm sure the process of doing comics now with all of that technology is just so much faster now at this point.
Yeah. I just have to work on understanding Affinity and its anti-aliasing, whatever it is, because for some reason, when I press the 1 tool to select inside the blacks, it doesn't go to the edge and it leaves specks. So now I have to go on a layer underneath and close those specks, those white specks. So in Photoshop, you're able to close that gap. So I'm trying to find the feature in Affinity that does that. I haven't been able to find that. Every photo, I have to go back and create a layer and clean up the blacks, so that way you don't see those little white specks that it doesn't capture on the wand. Pain in the rear.
Yeah, it's what happens with when you're learning a new program.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go to commercial. Test 3.
What are you doing? What do you mean, what am I doing? I'm waiting for my adoring fans. Yes. Yeah. What adoring fans? Can't you see I'm famous? I have a sticker. Ooh, do you have a sticker? Yeah. Well, I'm on the cover of this book. Are you on the cover? Well, I'm in this poster. Are you in? But you're tied up, and I'm not. So, I'm famous, and I don't need you. Hi, I'm the crazy man. Hi, I'm crazy man. Candy girl.
To learn more about the Crazy Man, make your pledge on Kickstarter for Catch the Crazies today.
All right, he's in the waiting room. Admit.
Are we back from commercial?
Yes, we are.
There we are.
Bring him in. There he goes.
There he is.
Hey guys.
How are you, Philip? How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Good. Thank you for being on the show. Yes, everybody watching the show right now, this is Phil Falco, creator and writer of Haunting. Where are you, Phil? Where are you talking to us from?
I'm in New York right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, me too. Sam's actually in Jersey, but
Oh, Jersey.
yeah, we're local.
I'm in the toxic territory. How's it going, buddy?
That's going pretty good. How about you?
Good. Not bad, not bad. I was actually, it's funny because we were just talking about the book right before you came on, and a few months back, I had sent Phil because I saw your Kickstarter, but it was just too late for me to have pledged, and I was like, damn, this is a cool book. So I sent him a message way back, and I was like, all right, he's busy, whatever. And then I saw that you were coming out with another Kickstarter, which we'll be talking about that in a little bit. And I was like, you know what? Let me hit him up again, man. I gotta have him on the show. So thank you so much for coming on, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Sorry again that I missed your first message.
That's all right.
I looked in the inbox and I don't know how I can overlook it.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool. So Phil, tell us a little bit about yourself before we go into the book. Tell us where you're from, how you got into the whole writing comics thing.
Sure. Yeah. So like I said, I'm from New York, born and bred. So, I've been writing, since high school, always prose in the past, but, comics have always been a passion of mine and, something I followed since my early teens. And I actually got into writing comics because a friend of mine has been indie publishing for about 5 or 6 years now.
Yeah.
And, she's been using Kickstarter as a successful platform for doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And, Haunting, the book I'll be kickstarting, started out actually as a novel I was writing, but, it wasn't really landing the way I wanted it to. And I think part of that is because, the story, I think, fits very well in a visual medium. It's obviously plenty of people are very successful writing horror, but, I think one of my favorite parts of horror is the visual aspect of it. So, getting to tap into that as a comic, it just, when I realized, hey, this is something you could do, it just seemed like a no-brainer. So
yeah. So you're a big fan of horror. Who are some of your favorite horror writers, authors?
Yeah, I have been reading horror comics for a long time. A lot of the classics. I really like Alan Moore and Neil Gaiman. The bigs, bigs and the greats. I think I have a pretty wide breadth of interest when it comes to horror. I don't just like ghost stories or demon stories or whatever slasher movies, but I think there's something to love in pretty much every aspect of horror. I think one of the most interesting things about horror is that it's so character driven a lot of the time.
Yes.
It really gives you the opportunity to hone in on whoever I don't know if victim's the right word, but whoever's experiencing whatever the horror phenomenon is. I really enjoy getting into their lives and seeing them process often impossible to process circumstances.
Yeah. I mean, reading the first issue, man, you did a really good job putting everything together. I personally believe that writing comedy and writing horror are probably two of the hardest things to do, because not what scares you may not scare me. What makes Sam laugh may not make me laugh. So finding that common ground is very hard. Do you find that it's hard to write horror, or do you find it fairly easy?
I think, like I said before, the visual aspect definitely helps. And, I have a very talented artist on board who can really help to realize a lot of my ideas. But, I think at the end of the day, you could talk about genres forever, but, forgetting that you're writing a genre really helps. And, just telling the story that you want to tell, and then trusting that, we've been consuming genre media our entire lives. Even unconsciously, it's going to seep into your writing. Yeah. So, I try not to approach it and say, okay, I need this many, scary panels. I need this many comedy beats, and just, let it kind of unfold itself. And then part of the editing phase is making sure all of the beats are there, the pacing makes sense. But, I think, trying to forget and just tell your story is kind of my method.
Yeah. No, very good.
Right. So tell me about how you came up with the concept.
Yeah, so this story, Haunting, didn't really start out as a horror comic, believe it or not, even though, even the name would lead you to believe that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I've been a big fan of comics my whole life. Superheroes are kind of hard to escape in comics, and have always been, something that really interested me. And I was always reflecting on, the heroes that we would see, especially, a decade or two ago, the paragons who, kind of take responsibility and ownership of all of the bad things that happen around them and all the bad things in the world. And, all of their villains are created by them or indirectly created by them, or they could be saved by them, etc. I just had this idea, what about a story where everything that happens, all of the bad things that happen are directly caused by the protagonist, but rather than being this paragon who carries all that weight and tries to make the world better, you have a kid who just kind of retreats into himself and refuses to take any responsibility for the harm that he's causing directly. And from there, I reflected, what kind of story would I want to tell for that? How does he harm the world around him? And I landed on this idea that he, wherever he goes, ghosts appear. He powers up the supernatural. And, from there, like I said, I love horror. So I thought that would be a really good genre to tap into. Yeah. And, the rest of the story kind of wrote itself from there.
So how long was that creative process for you to develop the story from start to finish?
I would say, so I first had the idea, like I said, it started out as a novel. When I was in college, I started writing it. So that was like 2016. And, I had a strong start, but like I said, it wasn't really landing for me as a novel. Maybe someday I would give it another try, or, I haven't really showed the novel version to anyone, but, and then around 2018 is when I thought maybe I should try to turn this into a comic script. And, I developed a lot of the story, a lot of the ideas I want to tackle when it was a novel. So like from like 2016 to 2017, over the course of, I'd say maybe like 6 months. And then before I put it down, and then picked it up again in 2018. And then, once I knew I wanted it to be a comic, it actually kind of wrote itself pretty quickly in like 2 months or so, that first issue. And then part of the second issue, which, was written when I found my artist and began the production.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about the artist, Phil. The artwork is beautiful, man. Beautiful. Tell us about how you went about putting the team together. Anna Wychick, Andrew Samboni, and Letter Squids, who did the letters and the logo. How did you put that team together?
Yeah, entirely on the internet. So, I went to a bunch of different forums. I went on Reddit. This was before I kind of tapped into the indie community and found, like easier ways to connect on social media. So I was going into these more anonymous places and just putting out an ad saying, this is what the story I want to tell, just giving like a really bare bones description, and then, sorting through different artists who were interested in reviewing their work. And Anna really stood out to me. Yeah. It's not her first horror book. She definitely has experience there. Mm-hmm. And I think she's really great at writing young characters. And, I think that's really central to this particular book, being able to capture that, like all of the nuance and uncertainty that goes into being young and, having responsibilities, but not being ready to face them yet. So, she was just perfect, right place, right time. Yeah. And then, kind of the same thing for the rest of the team. I found Andres, our colorist, on Reddit as well. He actually responded to the call for an artist for a line work, and said, hey, if you ever find it and you need someone to color it, feel free to reach out to me. And that's awesome. We clicked very, very easily. And then Letter Squids, I actually think I found on Instagram. I saw some of his other work and just shot him a message. So
yeah, that's awesome, man. I mean, I think that when you're working this way, I think that it could be hard, it could be great, it could be terrible, right? Like the experience itself, because, and I don't know how you guys did it. Was this pre-pandemic where you guys were able to get together and meet, or was this all through emails and things of that nature?
Yeah, it was all virtual. Anna, we're actually kind of all over the world. Anna, the artist, is in Poland. Andres is in Colombia, the colorist, and I'm actually not 100% sure where Letter Squid is. I know he's in the U.S., but I don't think he's on the East Coast with me.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but and it was pre-pandemic. We actually launched the first issue like right when the pandemic started, right when quarantine started, right when Diamond stopped distributing comics.
Ooh, yeah.
Which was not expected. It definitely hurt the con plans that I had. I had a whole big spreadsheet where I was planning what I was going to go to, already putting in deposits. But getting back to the question at hand, yeah. So I think it was definitely adjustment. Communicating with all of these different people across the world only virtually. But I think when you have a great idea and when you have great people working on it, you kind of get that back and forth, and you get that rapport that you need to produce the best possible product.
Was there any language barriers? Like, I mean, obviously, Anna's in Poland, with your colors being in Colombia. Like, I mean, obviously everybody, I guess now, Spanish and even English, and they're universal languages at this point. Everybody speaks them. But were there any kind of language barriers that you had to deal with when you were working this way?
Very minimal. Our whole team is pretty fluent in English, even if it's as a second language.
Yeah.
There may have been one or two times where Anna and I had to iterate back and forth, but the only example I can think of is I had in the script at one point, the ghosts are just showing up and things are like floating all over the room. And I wrote a ledger is floating in the air above the desk. So like a ledger that you would write the guests in. And Anna mistook the word ledger to mean, like a bellhop. That's what she thought it meant. So she just threw a person floating over the desk. And I said, you know what? I like that better. So
so it worked. That's awesome.
I know the feeling. we had a similar situation with an artist who I gave him a description to have a bat, and he gave me a bat, and the creature instead of the baseball bat. But I actually preferred the bat. I didn't even think about it, so I kept it.
Yeah, sometimes the miscommunications are what gives you exactly what you need.
Yeah. Sometimes it works. Yeah. Absolutely. You mentioned the indie community and being involved in the indie community. How did you get involved in it? Who brought you in? And tell us a little bit about that experience.
Yeah. So, like I said, a friend of mine had been working her own indie comics and promoting them via Kickstarter for a couple of years. So yeah. She definitely helped introduce me to a lot of people. And then, after that, it was just kind of natural connections. My friend didn't write a horror book, but, when you have your horror book out on Kickstarter, you tend to very naturally meet other people who have, books that are horror, even if it's not the same kind of horror. I've befriended people who have supernatural horror books, slasher horror books, all over the spectrum, children's horror. Or I shouldn't say children, I should say for a younger audience.
Yeah.
But the indie community that I've been interacting with in comics have been just really welcoming, and everyone kind of wants to boost each other up. So it's been very easy to make connections.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think there definitely is that. And this is what the show is about, right? Just getting you, like, for example, your book out there to more people. I mean, you've done very well. I commend you for what you've done on Kickstarter. The way you've grown. I mean, I saw the first Kickstarter, you had maybe like 100 and something pledges, and then it jumped on the second one to like 300. So how did you manage to build your audience in that amount of time?
Yeah, I think it's definitely, you learn something each time you do a Kickstarter. I definitely learned stuff the first time that I applied. The second time around, how to promote on social media, how to run more targeted ads, making connections with other creators. Because, if you connect with another creator, if they have their own audience and they can plug you to, you already get, another good couple of hundred people who are willing to back indie books. So it's really tapping into an existing market.
Yeah.
And then, just learning what people respond to, like what kind of preview do you show? What do you look for in your covers? Like I said, I've loved comics for a while, but one thing I never really paid much attention to until I started creating was variant covers. I always every once in a while I'd see one that was cool and I'd pick it up, but collecting is such a big aspect of comics. Being able to provide maybe like 2 or 3 variant covers definitely is an incentive for some people to not only get multiple copies of your book, but even just to check it out in the first place. And it makes a good thumb too. It's all about getting attention with like a really cool image. So that's something that I learned the first time around that I think really helped me jump up the second time. I had some really cool variant covers. I had a very targeted preview. When I wrote the script, I actually made sure, which I didn't do the first time around. I ended up having a kind of longer preview than I want to, like 7 pages. For the first issue. The second time around, I said, okay, I need to make sure I have a good 5-page sequence that works in the story, but would work also as like a really tight preview.
Nice. Yeah. Smart. Yeah. Very smart. And as far as the Kickstarter itself, I know that you've had the 2 and we spoke, even through message, and you have a third one coming out. So tell us a little bit about when that's coming out and what are some of the things that your fans can look for.
Right. So, we don't have the exact date yet. We're targeting the last week of February, first week of March. So that 2-week interval. All the line work is done. So it's just a matter of how quickly can we color most of the book, get enough to get a preview out. But we just launched the pre-launch page today. So anyone who wants to can go ahead and follow and get notified immediately when we do launch.
Perfect.
This time around, last time I had 2 variant covers. The first issue I had 1. This time we have 3, which
nice.
I don't think I would go higher than that. I think at that point you start to get into kind of dangerous oversaturation territory. But I think we have some really cool covers that I'm looking forward to revealing when we get closer. The first two issues, with the first one, I always like to say, was very atmospheric. It's very much introducing us into the world of the series, and just giving us who are our main players, our main three characters. Second one, we locked two of the characters in a room for the whole issue and had them interact, our two protagonists. And then the third issue is going to center around the villain of the series, Deacon. So I'm really looking forward to giving a little more backstory. Everything's been very fast-paced in the present moment. So I'm looking forward to putting out an issue where half of it's actually in the past. We find out what led to this conflict, what led this man to dedicate his life to hunting down Bram, our protagonist.
Sweet. Is this going to be an ongoing series, or do you have like an ending inside where it was maybe, even if it's like just the ending of like a first arc or something? How are you handling the book?
I know how the series is going to end. I know pretty much how the entire last arc is going to go, but I think there's plenty of room in the middle. I'm not rushing to end it. As long as I can keep writing an interesting story and people keep responding, I think it could keep going, and I could keep finding new situations for these characters. But in terms of the first arc, I'm trying to put myself in 4-issue arcs to make sure I keep them tight and satisfying, and that it works for collecting them to a trade at some point if I choose to do that. So this third issue is kind of the penultimate chapter of our first arc. And then we actually, Anna and I just started the art on the 4th issue, which we're really excited about, not to get too far ahead of myself.
It's hard not to. It's hard not to, like, you know what I mean? Like when you're writing and you're like, oh man, I got some artwork. Like it's hard not to get ahead of yourself. So I totally get where you're coming
especially
from.
when it's, I think with any, probably, comics, TV, movies, more so comics and TV, I should say, but with anything that has serialization, your writer brain has to be like 3-4 issues or episodes ahead, but then you have to get back into promote issue 3 mode. So right before I jumped on this call, I was plotting out the beats for like issues 5 and 6. So now I had to go back. Okay, what happened in issue 3?
That's cool, man. I love the process. I love the process of writing, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I love the introduction of the villain who's chasing Bram. He's ruthless. So tell me about the thought process and creating this character.
Sure. So like I said, the story started out very heavily on the protagonist, where I had that idea very fully formed about a kid who won't take responsibility for his actions. So the next part was finding a satisfying villain who would be a foil to him. And while Bram, our protagonist, is very aloof, he's very childish, sarcastic, refusing to take responsibility, I wanted Deacon to be, like you said, ruthless but proactive. Bram, he's the type to give up as soon as things get hard or to just completely shut down. Deacon, to his own detriment, will not do that. Something has happened to him. Something happened between him and Bram, which we learn about in issue 3, and Deacon has not stopped since then. He's been hunting Bram down, and he will not give up until he gets what he wants. Our other lead, Faith, who I think of as kind of the guiding light of the series. She's the good person amidst all of these very damaged people. I think she's kind of the audience vehicle who will have to point out to Bram and Deacon, like, you two hate each other so much, but you're almost the same. You both refuse to take responsibility for your actions. You just do it in such different ways. Bram, you shut down. Deacon, you hone in. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Tearing things up.
Yeah, no, I've definitely read that the best villain is almost like is almost like a complete opposite of the protagonist, and that's when they work, right? When your villain basically wants the same things that your protagonist wants, but he wants them his way, and I think that's what you have going on here, and I think it works very well.
Yeah, I think it really makes. Any two people in real life or in fiction, you'll find the common ground and you'll find where they differ. I think the key, like you said, with the getting those iconic pairs, getting your Joker Batman, your Lex Luthor Superman, your Charles Xavier Magneto, is they have very similar wants, they have very similar flaws, but they just go about it in such different ways that even they might not be aware of.
Right. Right, because to them, they're right. No matter what, they're right. Like,
Exactly.
I'm right. No, I'm right. And then that's where the clash happens. And I think that you've done that very well in this book. You know what, Phil? Thank you I really appreciate you coming and talking about the project. I'm looking forward to the third issue because I'm definitely going to be pledging to your Kickstarter whenever it comes out. I'm going to follow your launch page, and everybody should do the same. Follow that launch page. We'll put the link at the bottom of the video here. But thank you again for coming on. Where can they find you? Tell us a little bit. Tell us about whether you have a website or your social media. How can people follow you?
Yeah, best place to find me right now on social media. You could find Instagram and Facebook at Haunting Comic. No spaces or underscores or anything like that. And just on Kickstarter, you can find just search Haunting Comic. We should come up immediately. Mm-hmm. Thanks so much for having me, guys. It's been a lot of fun.
Sweet.
Great. I think your work is amazing. We're ending our Kickstarter and we're planning on next one. And talent like you guys really set the bar high, which is very understandable why you are achieving what you're achieving on Kickstarter and you're getting the recognition. So hard work pays off, and there's heart to what your story. I enjoyed it tremendously. So I think you guys are gonna be very successful.
Thank you.
You got it. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Phil. Take care.
You as well. Bye, guys.
Look. Yes. So really, again, I mean every word I say, because we definitely give kudos to the talent and the guests that come on the show, but what he did with that story, did a really great job. Really great job. I enjoyed it.
I'm telling you, it's very, very
it's funny is because as I'm gearing towards the launch of Forbidden, I start thinking about things. So it's when I see guys like this, I'm like, and the way they structure,
baby.
Inspiration, and I get it from everywhere. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's beautiful, beautiful thing. Thank you so much, Phil, for coming on. Definitely, guys, check out his Kickstarter. Like I said, the link will be down below. Click on it. Follow the launch page. Get ready for the launch of that book. We were fortunate enough. Phil was very gracious in sending us the first 2 issues, so I'm definitely going to finish those bad boys up before I pledge to his third. And I definitely want a printed copy of them. I think something about comics, dude, they read differently when you have them in your hand. So as much as I love the PDF, I need it. There's nothing like it. There's really nothing like it.
Nothing like it, man.
Nothing like it, man.
You heard it. You heard it here first. Mark my words. If you don't see his story on like the Sci-Fi Channel or one of those channels as an indie film or short series made for TV series, I'm telling you, it has all the makings for it.
It really does. Really, really well written. Really well written. And that has been our episode for today. Next week, if you're a hip-hop fanatic, if you like hip-hop, then you're going to love this next guest. His name is Lou Seif. Lou Seif is on the show. Yes. He's gonna be dropping some knowledge.
Dropping some bars.
Talking about hip hop.
Like Snickers.
His rap game.
Nutter Butter.
Rap game is great. Download his album called The Agenda. Check that out. But definitely check him out next week here on Catch the Craze, because that's gonna be dope.
Word. So if you enjoyed this episode, give us a thumbs up. If you have some comments and feedback for our guest or even for us, please leave comments below. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe and show some love, because we do this for the indie community. So if you're watching this, support the indie community and subscribe. That helps us keep the coal in the engine so this train can keep moving. With that said, I appreciate you.
One more thing, Sammy. Also, down below on the links will be our launch page for our third Kickstarter. So follow that, because that's coming in April.
Up.
All right.
Rolling with the crew that go buck, buck, buck. So I'm Sam the Crazy Man Vera.
George the Dreamer Medina on the mic.
Yes. And we are out.
It's just easy. It's not.
Crazy. Acquiesce.
No, I was talking about my friend Acquiesce. I met him. Say my name, right? This is what you were thinking? Oh my God. He described me. He said, I'm the...
What? Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. To Catch the Craze. You are listening to Catch the Craze on Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze.
Candy girl.